What is up, guys? Thank you for listening to the Work the Crowd podcast. I am one of your hosts, Dougie Fresh, and the other guy on the screen, Jacob Klucas. Today is a very special episode day for us. This is March Madness preview. No copyright. This is one of my favorite episodes because I love college basketball and I love the NCAA tournament. And finally, Louisville's back in it, so I get to enjoy it. So we're going to talk about our predictions. We're going to talk about some seeding problems and where we think they should have been. We're going to talk about what we think Cooper Flagg should do. And I got a trivia question for you at the end.
Oh, great.
So I think let's rock and roll. Let's
There's
get
a
into
lot
it.
of controversy around the last one, so.
Well, I'm just saying. I got one. This one won't be as much controversy.
Okay.
But let's go. Let's get into it.
All right. Here we go.
Was that British or was that?
Boom. Here we go.
Was that all?
NCAA tournament time. Here we go. We're going to do, now for this, we'll end up posting on the social medias my individual bracket that I'm picking and then Douglas's individual bracket that he's picking. This is going to be a collective decision. So we're going to have to agree, even if we don't on certain games, we're going to have to come to a mutual agreement on these games, as this is going to be a project, a group effort. Okay. So let's start off with the number one overall seed in the NCAA tournament. And we have Auburn, and they are projecting the play-in winner is going to be Alabama State. If I remember correctly, the actual play-in game for this one is Alabama State versus St. Francis.
Yep.
ESPN with I'm using ESPN Plus with this. They're projecting Alabama State. But let's be honest, is it really going to matter who it is? All right, yeah. So Auburn. Now, did you have? So I did have a small issue with Auburn being the number one overall seed in the tournament.
That was an immediate red flag for me when I was watching Selection Sunday.
Yeah, because if they had made it to the SEC title game and lost, I could understand maybe just going, okay, yeah, sure. They were the best team all year, essentially. They just lost one game, But they got bounced in the semifinal game, not in the SEC title game. Duke won. Duke was right behind them, number 2 all year. Duke won the ACC without Cooper Flagg. I thought maybe Duke should have gotten the number 1 overall seed in the tournament.
So, on top of that, I'm pretty sure Auburn and Duke played this year, and Duke beat them.
I believe you. I'm 95% sure you're right. Let's just double check, fact check it real quick.
Yep.
And you would be right. 84-78, Duke beat Auburn.
So what are we doing here? Why is Duke not the number 1 overall seed?
I don't know. I said the only thing I could think of would be just I don't know. Maybe it's a region thing. Maybe they just wanted to put certain teams in certain regions, which can be obviously in play.
Well, so that happened because the SEC had so many teams.
Yes.
The SEC kind of screwed some things up.
And I think that also played into a big part here. I think they just looked at it and said, SEC, ACC, we're going to go with the SEC.
Yeah, that was probably a big factor. But regardless, I still think Duke should have been.
I would agree. So moving on, we're picking Auburn.
Win that.
And then we get to here. This was, if Auburn wasn't the first red flag for you, this was the automatic. Okay. And so we talked about this moments before Selection Sunday. I had told you who I thought the number 1 seed should be, the potential 2 seeds. And then I told you who I thought where Louisville should be ranked and where Kentucky should be ranked. And if you remember, I said for you all beating Clemson in the ACC tournament and in the regular season, playing in the ACC championship game, albeit losing to Duke, but being there, I said you all should be no higher than a 4 seed, but no lower than a 5, really. I said if they drop to 6, you can live with it, but I thought they should have been a 5.
I would say a 6 if I was
But
looking at it. But
it's like you texted me later and said it. Louisville was a projected 8 seed before the ACC tournament started.
Yeah.
So, what did playing in the ACC tournament do for Louisville?
Well, apparently beating Clemson on a neutral floor.
On a neutral
Did
floor, and
nothing.
they beat them earlier this year. Wasn't it at Clemson when they beat them?
No, it was a home game.
It was okay.
We beat
Either
them by
way,
10 to
but
11.
either way, you won both games.
Yeah.
And how and we'll get to it later. So, spoiler alert: Clemson, if you don't know, is a 5 seed. So how Clemson ended up as a 5 and Louisville as an 8. Now I get it. Clemson has wins over Kentucky. They have wins over a win over Duke. But what are we doing here? They lost to Louisville twice.
They beat Duke. They beat Kentucky. It's the overall body of work is what they're saying now, right?
Yeah. And
So
I get it. Essentially now what with the exception of one team, and we'll get to that later, the committee told us basically this tournament, your resume means everything. Now, if you don't have the body of work, they're not going to, reward you. So,
yeah.
And I was talking to my buddy at work last night about this. I said, listen, I don't agree that you all should be an 8 seed. I think you all should have been, like I said, a 5, no higher than a 4. But you're going to have to, like, with the ACC being as down as it is, and I don't foresee it getting any better, really, you're going to have to start scheduling tough non-conference opponents. And as you could see with Kentucky this year and the seed they got, listen, I mean, win or lose them, at least you played them.
Louisville had a tough non-conference schedule. I mean, we played Tennessee, Ole Miss, Oklahoma.
Well, I know.
Played,
No, I'm not saying you didn't. I was just saying you're just gonna have. It's gonna have.
Yeah,
to
you
be
have
like
to.
that.
You're gonna have to do this every year.
Yeah.
Basically, you're gonna just have to get some SEC teams in your
to have a chance.
Yeah, on your schedule to have a chance to get a lower seed.
Either that or figure out a way for the ACC to schedule home and home for you and Duke every year, guaranteed. That way at least you have 2 games against Duke every year instead of 1. Potentially 3 in the ACC tournament. I mean, they're gonna have to do something.
Yep.
Like we said, the ACC is the basketball wise is hanging on to now Louisville, Duke, and Carolina, and they're praying. Well, let's do a little breaking news real quick. It's non-tournament related. West Virginia head coach Darian DeVries has taken the Indiana job.
Wow, that was the first time. He's a first-year head coach there.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if I'm Indiana fans, I'm happy about that. Yeah, he's a good coach.
So, sorry, little sidetrack there, but that was a little bit of breaking news while we're doing the show. But yeah, I mean, you got Duke, Louisville, Carolina that's going to carry the ACC going forward in basketball. And at that point, you're just preying on Clemson, the one-offs of every year. Clemson having a really good year. NC State, Syracuse, you're Miami, Florida State. You're preying on the one-offs every year of somebody else just, picking up their end of the bargain. So, but yeah, I thought this was, I was shocked, 8 seed. And then not only that, your reward for turning the program completely around. I mean, literally, if you flip-flop the record, this is essentially where Louisville had been the last 4 years.
This was what our record was last year, for one season.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So your reward for completely turning it around in one season and going to the ACC championship, again, losing, is you get Creighton in the first round, which is no easy game.
No.
And if you win, you get a date with the number 1 overall seed in the tournament.
Yeah. Love that.
The only judgment or the only good faith, good hope that the committee gave you is that you get to play in Lexington the first 2 games.
Yep.
So, yeah. Wasn't
I'll be honest, because you mentioned the conference, the ACC as a conference as a whole. I heard Seth Greenberg talking today, and he was talking about, he was on the Pat McAfee show, and he was mentioning maybe combining somehow with the Big East to create some super basketball conference. Keep football out of it. They can't really do anything with football. Keep football out of it. Let the basketball side
Yeah,
create
because
a
a lot
huge
of those
super
Big East
conference.
teams don't even have football teams, so I don't think it would
Right.
really matter.
Well, I'm just saying, yeah. So, for that,
Yeah.
keep basketball or create a super basketball conference.
Yeah.
And somehow get,
God, could you imagine
these
that? That would
different games.
mean at some point, whether it's an every year thing or once every other year, Rick Pitino has to come back to Louisville.
Yeah, he has no choice at
So.
that point. But yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting. That could be something the ACC tries to do going forward, because it's pretty well talked about right now that the ACC is pretty much trash in basketball. So, but anyway, so let's get into this game. I think this game, the percentage wise on ESPN, is way too inflated for us, if I'm being honest. The Creighton's actually a really good basketball team.
So, Doug, I will say for some of these, off to the side here, I don't know if you have ESPN Plus or not. If you're wanting to see any of these, if we get down to the nitty gritty where we're having a tough time, we do have
we'll go
these
off
to the
those.
side. But these right here, for the main ones, kind of gives you a little bit of different stuff. So like simulation, how I think they said out of 100 times this game was simulated, how did it end up? Certain stuff like that. So right now, as we can see, swaying towards Louisville, 61%. This is definitely going to, and it's the first game as well. I mean, the NCAA committee couldn't have just screwed you all anymore. You're the very first game of the day, of the whole tournament. So the only issue that I flip-flop back and forth on different brackets. I'm picking Louisville, picking Creighton, because if Ryan Kalkbrenner gets going offensively, I don't know if Louisville has an answer for him. So
yeah, he's the 7-footer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if he gets going, and he's a monster on defense already as is. So drives to the lane with him in the game are going to be tough. But if he can get going offensively, I don't know if you have an answer, and that's my only issue that I have.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Kelsey's going to have a game plan for that regardless. They don't have their point guard is really good. He's a good shooter, and he's going to immediately try and find the big guy, whatever his last name is.
Yep.
They're going to have some defensive schemes where they're doubling him, and they're going to be fronting him the entire game. We dealt with this with Clemson. Their big guy is about the same size, so we can definitely handle it. It's about how can we defend the other guys, and can we stay on them so they don't hit a bunch of threes. That was the problem how Clemson came back during the ACC tournament. So again, like I said, I think our 61% is a little inflated. I think it's a little more. I would say it's more 55% us. I think this game's a little closer than people than ESPN gives us credit for. So, but we were also missing Rain Smith,
who's
past
back.
like 3 or 4 games, and who's coming back Thursday. So he's our best shooter. That's going to make a difference because Creighton's perimeter defense is not very good.
Yep.
So
I think overall, I do think I would lean towards Louisville.
Yeah,
so
I would too.
So we'll go Louisville here. And now we go to the 5-12 matchup, Michigan and UC San Diego.
Yeah.
And this is America.
12s, man, are going to be interesting.
They are. And this right here is America's favorite as far as the upset. Now, ESPN doesn't agree, but I know if you go through a lot of different people's brackets, they're going UC San Diego. And I tend to agree with them.
Yeah, I don't really know much about them, but based on what I've heard from just like watching ESPN or whatever. I don't know. You want to go with the upset? Let's go with the upset.
Listen, in a lot of my brackets, I've gone UC San Diego. Very few if I picked Michigan, and that's not an Ohio State thing, I promise. But
Are we sure? You sure about that?
but something I got to watch. Obviously, I'm not sitting here watching all these mid majors, but I have watched highlights of a lot of them just because they're in the tournament. I'm like, okay, I got to at least get some kind of feel for it.
Yeah.
They're a fun, exciting team, and I'm telling you, they can make a run in this tournament. They could be this year's Cinderella. Moving on, we have Texas A&M, Yale. This is another favorite for an upset, but I've kind of leaned more towards Texas A&M as we get closer.
I think a lot of SEC games are gonna more. I would lean more towards them if like a game like this where they're calling for an upset, only because of the competition they played the entire year. So
yeah, I mean they're battle tested all year,
right? So I would take A&M in this as well.
All right, we have Ole Miss, and this is another play-in. This is the San Diego State North Carolina matchup. ESPN
I'm very curious
projecting
to see how that game plays tonight.
ESPN projecting San Diego State. So either way, I mean, it could matter. So for this one, so I guess you want to pick who wins between San Diego State and North Carolina first?
I think North Carolina does.
Okay. They are 5-point favorites tonight. So
I think North Carolina does.
All right. And so let's block out San Diego State there. North Carolina, Ole Miss. I don't think it would really matter. I would pick Ole Miss.
Yeah.
To win this one.
Regardless of this.
Listen, Ole Miss is extremely well coached. They're very good. They're a very offensive team, and they have their moments on their moments on defense where they're really good.
Yeah.
So I would lean towards Ole Miss here. Iowa State and Lipscomb. Listen, none of my brackets have I picked Lipscomb to win.
They are dealing with some injuries, though.
Iowa State is dealing with injuries, which I think will hurt them down the
not this game.
Further, but not this game.
No.
Marquette, New Mexico. This game is interesting. Very, very interesting.
Well, Richard Pitino action.
Richard Pitino. Richard Pitino versus Shaka Smart here. So
some fun coaching.
Yeah. But the other one is the interesting guard matchup here. And you have Donovan Dent of New Mexico, Cam Jones of Marquette. And here's my thing. Cam Jones all year for Marquette has had to carry the load offensively. If he doesn't, have a game, Marquette struggles. And I think Cam Jones is going to have his hands full with Donovan Dent here. Donovan Dent's a 21.6 assist guy. So, and Donovan Dent also plays really good defense. So, and this is also that 7-10 matchup is another one of those tricky matchups that it goes either way.
Mm-hmm.
I've leaned Marquette more in more of my brackets, but if this is a game that New Mexico comes in and steals one, I would not be shocked.
I agree. I'm going to lean Marquette on this one.
Yeah, I think I'm going to trust Marquette here. But again, New Mexico, they're an interesting team. And then I don't think we need to think much about this one. Michigan State, I think, beats Bryant.
Yeah.
Here. All right, moving on.
Woo!
Here we go. Don't think we need to think much about this one.
Chomp, chomp.
Florida beats Norfolk State.
Yeah.
Shout out to Florida for winning the SEC.
Yeah.
UConn and Oklahoma.
Whew.
This is an interesting game because what UConn team are we getting?
Yeah.
They've been up and down all year, but at the same time, you have to think in the back of your mind, this is still Dan Hurley in the tournament, who's back-to-back national champion. So can he rally the troops and get them going? Or do they just are they kind of that shaky team that they've been all year?
This one's tough for me. I would almost lean Oklahoma on this one.
So
Just based on how UConn's played.
So my thing is watching Oklahoma, obviously in the SEC this year. Just think I don't know. It's my thing is, and it can play a toll. And I'm not saying this is a big reason. How big of a toll, or how devastated is Oklahoma after losing in the SEC tournament the way that they did to the same guy that they did in the regular season that used to play for them?
I think Kentucky's a way better team than UConn is.
I mean, yes, I would agree, but it can take a toll. It could take a mental toll on some guys. And so now the question then becomes, it's not so much of, the specific player, but if this game gets down to the nitty gritty and we're down, can Oklahoma trust themselves to get a stop late?
I think you're thinking too much into that, if you want my honest opinion.
I mean, it's a tournament. You kind of have to.
Well, no, I think the tournament's anything goes. But
I don't know.
I would lean more Oklahoma here, if I'm being honest.
I don't know.
You're trusting Dan Hurley, right?
Right. And because
I'm trusting the way the teams played all year. And again, Oklahoma has played a lot more better teams this year than UConn has.
Okay. We can go Oklahoma. All right, Memphis, Colorado State. Here's my thing.
This one's going to be close, too.
I've picked Colorado State in a lot of brackets, but I will say I think people are sleeping heavily on this Memphis team.
I mean, I'll be honest, I would pick Colorado State.
Now, I would say individually, Colorado State has the best player in this game, and Nick Clifford. So, I mean, 6'6" guard, averages 20 and 10. And that's 10 rebounds, not 10 assists. But I don't know. I will pick Colorado State just because I have in a lot of brackets. But I will say I think a lot of people are sleeping on Memphis. Maryland, Grand Canyon. Listen, Grand Canyon has been an exciting story the last 2 years if you haven't kept up with them. But Maryland's too good.
Yeah, Maryland's a good basketball team this year.
Drake and Missouri. This is another interesting matchup. And listen, this is where Darian DeVries came from, was from Drake to West Virginia, now at Indiana. Missouri, obviously a great story. They didn't win a single SEC game last year, turned it around this year to go 22-11. I don't know. This game is where I think the SEC, leaning towards the SEC, I almost want to lean towards Drake.
Why?
Because it's their first time being there. They're excited. They've got nothing to, a lot of these teams don't have anything to lose, but if you've never been there before, you don't know what to expect. So it can be a negative, but also at the same time, you're playing free. And when you've got a team that's going to play free, that's kind of scary.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but
and if you're also looking down here, Drake, and granted, albeit they're not playing against SEC, obviously, very good defensive team though.
What about offensively?
I mean, effective field goal percentage 53 to 56. They have a better offensive rebounding percentage, which can play a big role down the stretch. I mean, they're not that far off in points per possession. So
I'm good with it. Let's go, Drake. That offensive rebound percentage kind of swayed me. I didn't notice that at first.
Yeah. Texas Tech, UNC, Wilmington. I don't think we need to think twice about this. Texas Tech. Here's, I think could be the most interesting round one matchup. Bill Self versus John Calipari, first round.
Basically last year's Kentucky team.
And keep in mind, we'll keep this in mind for when you're picking these games. Boogie Flan for Arkansas will be back.
Yeah.
And also another thing to keep in mind, granted it was an exhibition game earlier this year, but Arkansas hosted Kansas for an exhibition game earlier this year and smoked Kansas in the exhibition game.
I happen to think Kansas is not very good this year.
No.
So regardless who's coaching on that sideline for him or not, I think Arkansas wins this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. And also, let's take into effect, Arkansas towards the end of the year was playing really good.
Yes.
And yeah, they lost at the buzzer to Ole Miss. They were also missing a Thiero for that game. So
they're going to be completely healthy.
Yep, going into this game, I have not been a Kansas fan this year. I thought they were going to be a lot better going in, but after I watched their first the Champions Classic, I was like, this team ain't
not the same Kansas you're used to.
Nope. And then St. John's Omaha. I don't think we need to think twice about this one. Don't really need to go into the details.
No.
St. John's.
No.
Moves on. Moving on to the East region here.
Doesn't matter.
Yep. Don't think it matters.
All right. Let's talk about this one, though, real quick.
Okay.
Just for a second. One thing we wanted to bring up was talking about Cooper Flagg.
Oh, yep. So, if you don't know, real quick, before Doug goes into it, Cooper Flagg got hurt in the Georgia Tech game of the ACC championship.
Yeah, first round or the
second round.
I guess.
So, didn't play in the semifinal, didn't play in the championship game. All right, go ahead, Doug.
Yeah, so like he was saying, based on that, should he really play? Cooper Flagg is projected the number 1 overall pick. Does he? If he's not 100% healthy, should he even play in this game? Because I think they can beat whoever the 16th seed is.
Now, based off their 8-9 matchup, it could get a little worrisome.
Right.
But he's going to probably this game. So listen, we talked about this when he got hurt, and I said from the get-go, I don't know about y'all, but Cooper Flagg was damn near 3-4 feet in the air when he came straight down on his ankle.
Looked horrible. That is
okay.
Way he did.
I understand everybody going, oh, but he came back out afterwards, wasn't in a boot, still had his shoe on. Yeah, a lot of that has to do with adrenaline, and it's not going to swell right away. All right? So he comes back out, and I get it. He was up, moving around and everything, celebrating with his teens and everything. I don't care. Listen, NIL, no NIL, nothing. This kid is the number 1 overall pick. Guaranteed, lock it up.
Yeah, sit your ass on the bench.
If I'm Cooper Flagg, and I get it, he's going to want to play. And he's going to play. If I'm John Shire, I'm telling him this first game against the play-in against some, whether
it doesn't matter.
Sit. We'll be fine.
It doesn't matter.
Because here would be my thing, and I would tell Cooper if he tries to argue, if we lose this game against a 16 seed, we don't deserve to be here to begin with.
They won the whole ACC championship.
Yeah, and won it without him.
Well, yeah, play this game without him. Let him have until the weekend to rest.
But here's my argument towards Cooper Flagg just not playing at all.
Well, I agree.
You're the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah.
All right. I watched a couple years ago another exciting Duke player that got hurt and decided to go back and play as a number 1 overall pick. And now it's just a continuous nonstop nagging injuries. And his name is Zion Williamson. Now, did a lot of that have to do with Zion's weight? Is that going to be an issue with Cooper? No. But it's the fact of all it takes is one injury for something to become a nagging injury. Especially if you don't heal it properly. All right? Listen, I'm not counting pockets on anybody. I know there's been that funny meme and funny rumor that Cooper Flagg's going to come back because he doesn't want to play for the Hornets or the Wizards. But listen, kid, you're the number 1 overall pick. I know we have NIL and maybe money isn't huge to you now because you've already made millions just playing 1 season at Duke. But think about your future. How do you want your NBA legacy to look? Do you want to be looked at as kind of a joke and kind of a bust of a number one pick like Zion is, with the exception of when he plays. Because when Zion plays, he's amazing.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that we only get 2 to 3 games out of him, and that's it. And then he's out again. So do you want that to be how you're looked at, or do you want to be looked at as a legit number one pick?
Yeah, I think 100% this game don't play.
No, not this game.
I'm sure his parents, John Shire, they're all having these conversations with him.
And here would be my thing. If he does play, you get past this game, he doesn't play. He plays in the Mississippi State Baylor game. I wouldn't even start him. I would tell him, look, you're going to come off the bench. If you really feel like you can play, you're going to come off the bench and you're going to play in 2 to 3 minute spurts. And then you're going right back down.
Yeah, and limit his time a little bit. Yeah. See how the game goes. Yeah. No, I think it's good.
Again, I'm not counting pockets. I'm not telling anybody what to do. I know we'll probably get some Duke fans that watch this and hear us say that, and it's like, oh, y'all just hating. No, he's going to play no matter what. No, I'm trying to look out for a kid's future. That's what I'm trying to do. So, moving on, Mississippi State, Baylor in the 8-9 matchup. I've flip-flopped on this back and forth.
Yeah, this one's tough. Hey, are you getting an echo? I'm hearing an echo on your side.
No.
Yeah, so back and forth on this one.
Because you got Josh Hubbard on one side for Mississippi State, VJ Edgecombe on the other. It's tough. The only reason I would lean towards Baylor is Baylor's got size. And again, you can go SEC. It's played against better competition all year. The Big 12 isn't far behind.
Yeah, this doesn't play in this game. That what I've been saying before.
To me, in this game, I think Norchid Omier plays a bigger role in this one, and I think it's what catapults Baylor to win this game.
Yeah, I would.
Also, if we're breaking it down to coaching, I trust Scott Drew more.
Agreed. Yeah.
So, Oregon and Liberty in this one. Another potential upset, but I will say I
think Oregon handles
I've gone Oregon comfortably.
Yeah.
Oregon is that team every year. It doesn't matter if you haven't watched them all year. It seems like when they get to the tournament, they make runs. And Dana Altman has these guys ready to play in the tournament always. Arizona, Akron. I didn't really think much about this one. I've gone Arizona pretty much. Now, here's an interesting one. BYU and VCU, the battle of the alphabets here.
Battle of the alphabets.
So, listen, VCU, really good defensive team. And that's why a lot of guys are swaying towards VCU, because BYU is hit or miss on offense. But here's the thing. I watched BYU in the Big 12 tournament. Let me pull up the exact stat. It was when they played Iowa State. Yeah. I watched BYU erupt for 18 threes against Iowa State. And they're one of those teams that if they get hot, they are hard to stop.
Are they mainly a 3-point shooting team? Like they're going to shoot a lot of threes?
They're mainly perimeter oriented.
So
play
by the three.
Yep.
That same exists for a reason.
But I think that's why a lot of people are picking VCU, because that plays right into VCU's hands. They're a perimeter defensive oriented team.
Because if you're not hitting threes, what else can you do?
And what do threes lead to? Transition. Yep. Long rebounds
lead to layups and fouls.
So
yeah,
I'm cool to go with the upset here and pick VCU.
I get why this is basically a 50. Something's telling me VCU. Something's just telling me let's go VCU.
No. All right, Wisconsin, Montana. I haven't really thought much about this.
Wisconsin. Yeah, let's go with the Badgers.
St. Mary's, Vanderbilt. This is another interesting one. And I don't think playing in the SEC relies on this one. I've gone St. Mary's in pretty much all my brackets. St. Mary's won the Mountain West outright over Gonzaga in the regular season. They lost in the tournament, but
I'm good with going
St. Mary's. And then same thing here. Alabama, Robert Morris.
I don't know, man. Robert Morris. No, I'm just kidding. Bama's going to score 100
Listen,
and something.
They make noise in the NIT, not the tournament, okay?
Yeah, Bama's going to – they'll score a ton of points on those guys.
Yeah. All right, and then this is the last region of the first round. So here we go. Houston and SIUE. Houston, right? I mean, it's where. What are we doing here?
Yeah. It literally had 100% on ESPN.
Yeah. Gonzaga and Georgia.
I think I'd go.
I do find it interesting how the overall sways Gonzaga here. But then you go down to like similar games and stuff and how even really they are. But I've gone Gonzaga.
I think I would go Zags for sure.
Clemson and McNeese State.
All right, hold on a second. So I'm going to pick Clemson, but I think this game is a little bit interesting because they've already played once this year. I'm pretty sure they played in like the preseason or exhibition game or whatever. I'm not 100% on that. I'm pretty sure. I thought I heard that somewhere. But and when you've played a team already once, and then if that's the case, are you looking that up?
Yep.
Okay. Trust me, but verify. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Let's just say they have played them. Or they've seen them before, let's just say. Playing a team twice, especially in an NCAA tournament game, is interesting. You get to take some more film for how they played against your guys.
Yeah, I'm not.
Not seeing it?
Everything I'm seeing is just because the game is so close. Everything's coming up with tournament stuff, so I'm not seeing anything about exhibition right now.
Well, I'll look it up.
Yep.
But I was going with Clemson regardless. Clemson's a really good basketball team this year. Should they have been a 5 seed? Probably not. But whatever. I digress.
Anyways, Purdue and High Point. It's another. Listen, I in a lot of my brackets, I have picked High Point. They were on my list of sleeper teams.
They were on my list as well. High Point was.
And you look at it again. We could talk about the level of competition.
Look at the stats.
Yeah, you can talk about the level of competition all you want. I mean, they are smoking Purdue in offense and really on defense. The only advantage I would say Purdue really has in this is one. Obviously, they play in a much tougher conference than High Point does. So level of competition. They have the best player in this game in Braden Smith. They have the better coach. But, again, I don't know. Something about this game. This game, to me, the whole time has screamed upset. And also, let's not act like Purdue hasn't been liable to get upset in the first round like they've had in the past. You looking up that Clemson McNeese State?
Yeah, I'm listening though. You're good.
So, listen, I'm willing to roll the dice and go High Point here.
They were on my list. I'm good with it. Let's do it. I say let's roll with the High Point.
All right, Illinois versus, and this is another play-in, Texas and Xavier. They're projecting Texas. I would say yes, it probably is going to be Texas. So that leads into Texas versus Illinois. Listen, Texas is such an up and down team. I think Illinois is a more complete basketball team. I would go with Illinois here to beat Texas in round one.
Texas? You saying Texas to beat Illinois?
No, Illinois to beat Texas is what
Oh,
I'm
I
saying.
thought you said the opposite. Sorry.
No.
Yeah. Yes.
All right, Kentucky, Troy.
No,
Obviously going
Kentucky
Kentucky.
should. They
I
get Lamont
will-
Butler back.
I will say though, I looked this up because I can't wait for it to come back and bite us in the ass because it always happens. Troy as a team shoots 29% from the 3-point line.
Here we go.
I cannot
Here
wait for
we
them to
go.
spray 14 threes on us.
No, this isn't Calipari. By the way, McNeese did not play Clemson. I totally lied. I suck at this podcast. So
No,
you're gonna find a new host next week.
I am not gonna find a new host. UCLA and Utah State.
Dude, I think UCLA. I don't think they're that good. They're okay.
They're a really good defensive team.
I know, but I
don't know.
good.
Utah
I'm
State
good with going
was
on
on,
this first round.
Utah was on my list as well as like to watch. See, the problem is I made my list of like teams to watch, and I'm sitting there watching the brackets come out, and I'm like, nope, don't like that matchup. Nope, don't like that matchup. Nope. I was like, you just took out all my teams to watch because I don't like the matchup that they have.
I mean, basketball is a game of matchups. It really
Yeah.
is. So that's why stats like this do matter, regardless of where you've played in a conference.
So now it does keep in mind Utah State, very good offensive team, but UCLA, very good defensive team.
I'm good. I think we should go.
And also this number worries me. So opponent offensive rebound percentage, Utah State in comparison to UCLA gives up more offensive rebounds. And then UCLA grabs more offensive rebounds in comparison.
Yeah, I'm going UCLA.
Yep.
For sure.
And then Tennessee, Wofford.
Yeah,
Tennessee
should mollywop them.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Second round.
All right.
We get a little bit better matchups here. Listen, buddy, I'm sorry, and I don't mean to say it this way. They're probably going to beat your face in.
I hope not, but I'm going to say
I would
we
like
lose.
to say I really would like to see you all make it a game.
Yeah,
I don't
the
know.
The only thing we have going for us is that this will be a home game for us. That's it.
Here's my thing. Just like I said with Ryan Kalkbrenner, I don't know if you really have an answer for Janai Broom.
Probably not. No, I'm going Auburn for sure.
Yeah.
It hurts me under my core.
Listen, brother. Listen. UC San Diego. I almost want to go upset to go to the Sweet 16.
Look at that offensive rebound percentage.
Yeah.
For 40% for
Yep.
Texas A&M, though.
Yep. But look at the defense for UC San Diego. And then if we want to break this, simulation says UC San Diego.
That's wild.
I don't know. Texas A&M to me is one of those teams where if they're on, but the problem is that they're not. They're a dud.
If they're not hitting shots,
I mean,
UC San Diego wins this game.
That's the name of the game, but yes,
I know. But I'm just saying, defensive wise,
listen.
Listen,
I will say this as well, and we'll get into this afterwards as far as what you need to fill out your things you need to know to fill out your bracket. A double-digit team in the last, I think it was 16 NCAA tournaments has made the Sweet 16.
Hey, I'm good with going UC San Diego. I'm good with it. Let's do it.
Ole Miss and Iowa State. I've kind of gone Ole Miss.
I've gone Ole Miss too.
Because if Iowa State is not healthy
right
for this game, I don't know.
Ole Miss is a good basketball team.
They are. And listen, I know a lot of people are going to go, well, look at the numbers. Iowa State's crushing them and all the numbers. Listen, if you're not healthy, you're not healthy.
Yeah, that's a big deal. So,
yes. So yeah, I've leaned Ole Miss. Let me fix my chair here. Good gosh.
Mississippi State, Ole Miss. Hello.
Marquette and Michigan State. Listen, I had an issue not an issue. I had a hard time picking Marquette. I would go Michigan State. I think Tom Izzo would have a game plan for Cam Jones. Unless Cam Jones just went absolutely bonkers and dropped, 35 plus points in this game and was just on a heater, I'd go Michigan State.
I think Michigan State wins this.
Florida, Oklahoma, SEC matchup. They've seen these guys before. I'd go Florida.
Yeah, Florida for sure.
Colorado State, Maryland. I'd probably lean towards Maryland. I'd like
Maryland's a
Colorado
good
State
team.
here.
Yeah, no more upsets on this one, I think.
Drake, Texas Tech. I said during the Big 12 breakdown, I really like Texas Tech, so I'd pick Texas Tech. And then the
Here
matchup
we
everybody
go.
kind of wants to see, Ricky P
Yes.
versus John Calipari. And
Can he still own him?
can Cal still get Rick? Cal's track record versus Rick is very good.
It's very good.
Very, very good.
And his
But
team,
I will
Rick's
say
teams are all the same.
I would say with this team in comparison to Cal's, it's not funny when the rabbit has the gun.
Yeah.
So
I think St. John's wins this one.
I think St. John's beats him.
Yeah.
Duke and Baylor, I would go Duke.
Yeah.
Duke, I think.
Cooper Flagg might actually play in this game. I don't think he plays.
And that would be a deciding factor.
Yeah. I think that's regardless, honestly, I think they still win.
An old Pac-12 matchup. And that's weird to say, an old Pac-12 matchup. Oregon, Arizona here. Again, Oregon seems to come ready to play all the time, but Arizona, I watched them play in the Big 12 tournament. They played very well in that Big 12 championship game against Houston until the very end.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with.
I'd lean Arizona here.
Yeah.
VCU, Wisconsin. I kind of want to lean VCU here because, again, Wisconsin really kind of perimeter oriented with John Tanji, and I think VCU would have an answer for that on the perimeter defense.
Yeah, their defense looks really good. I'm good with it. Let's go, VCU.
I'm not going to look twice at this one. Alabama.
Score 100?
Yep, probably. Now, this is an interesting matchup.
Really?
Yeah, I think it is. Gonzaga can score. Houston plays defense, but Gonzaga can score.
I'm
picking Houston. I'm picking Houston, but I'm just saying this game is interesting for a 1 seed to get to match up with Gonzaga. Also, it is to know, I think it's, 6 in a row, 7 in a row that Gonzaga's made the Sweet 16. So obviously they get stopped. They're going to get stopped here by our prediction, but I'm just saying Gonzaga ain't no slouch. High Point, Clemson. I'd go Clemson here.
Clemson plays pretty good defense.
Yeah, so I would go Clemson. Interesting matchup, Illinois, Kentucky. But I would say if Lamont Butler is healthy, doesn't get hurt in the game before, and is playing this game, Kentucky wins.
Yep, I agree.
UCLA, Tennessee. I'd go Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee should beat them pretty single-handedly.
All right, here we go. Sweet 16. Here we go. Auburn, UC San Diego. Sorry, UC San Diego. This is where your Cinderella run ends. Ole Miss, Michigan State.
I'm going Michigan State here.
I think I will to be on the safe side, but Ole Miss is a really good basketball team.
They are.
Florida, Maryland. I'm going Florida. St. John's, Texas Tech.
This is going to be a good game.
Listen, St. John's is a physical basketball team, and I think if there's any team out of all the teams left in the tournament, Texas Tech can match physically with St. John's. And
offensively, St. John's is not a very good offensive team.
Yeah, but defense.
Yeah, I mean, yes, defense.
But I will say Texas Tech is also one of those teams. I watched them in the Big 12 against who were they playing? I think it was Baylor. When they played Baylor in the Big 12 tournament. I watched them spray 14 threes in the first half. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Ricky P's allowing that.
Safe side. I have picked Texas Tech in a couple of brackets, but I safe side, I would probably go St. John's. Duke, Arizona. I'm picking Duke, but I will say
they've played this year, right?
Duke's. Yes.
And I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure Duke won that one, right?
Where, you know what? What are we doing here? Let's just do this. Yes, Duke won 69-55 at Arizona.
Yeah.
But the The only thing I will say, and it's a funny for the North Carolina people, Duke's got to hate to see Caleb Love coming in the tournament.
Oh, absolutely. And I think if Cooper Flagg's not 100% healthy, this matters.
Yes. This game, it matters. But
that's what sucks.
Safe side, we'll go
you go
Duke.
Duke.
VCU, Alabama. Sorry. Again, Cinderella run for VCU.
Roll Tide.
Alabama moves on. Houston, Clemson. Interesting game. But I do think Houston moves on.
I think they overpower them.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I think they're more physical than Clemson.
I think in every category.
Yeah. And then Kentucky, Tennessee. Now,
it's hard to beat a team 3 times.
Kentucky's beat them twice this year.
Hard to beat a team 3 times.
But the unfortunate part is both those times Jackson Robinson was playing is not playing now. I'd almost have to go Tennessee.
Wow, I'm surprised you said that.
I don't want to. I really just want to say, all right, F it, Kentucky. But
no, I mean, I definitely say Tennessee wins.
All right, moving on.
ESPN's so nice.
I know. Auburn, Michigan State. Sorry, Tom Izzo.
Auburn, yeah. Auburn's such a good basketball team.
Yeah. Florida, St. John's. Listen, I'm sorry, Ricky P. This Florida team is
can really score the ball.
Yeah. I don't know why my chair keeps going down like that. Florida, Duke, Alabama. I think what this narrows down to is Alabama can play offense. Obviously, they're an offensive team. Duke plays really good defense.
Duke's guard play here defensively is going to make a big difference here.
Yep.
I think Duke wins that. Florida showed you that if Alabama's not hitting, they'll lose by 30 because they can't play defense.
Yep. And then Houston, Tennessee. Listen, I'm going off history on this one alone. Tennessee's never been to a Final Four. I'm going Houston.
Yeah.
So I know it's not fun, but that leaves all 4 number 1 teams as the Final Four. And what you can argue here is the national championship game.
Yeah.
Florida, Auburn. They've already played once this year. Florida beat them. Listen.
God, dude, this is a toss-up. I agree. Auburn showed weakness, especially here of late. Florida has not. They're playing really good.
And the thing against Auburn is if they have shown, the teams that have played against them, if you have really good guard play against Auburn, you've got a really good chance. And I'd go Florida.
I'm good. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go with it.
Duke, Houston. Houston can get real physical with Duke. Obviously, Duke, really good. They're a really good all-around team in terms of offense and defense.
This is a tough one too, man.
Listen, with Duke moving forward, it's all about how healthy is Cooper Flagg in the tournament.
I mean, let's be honest. Really, I think from the second round.
Yeah. It's all about how healthy is he from the tournament at the start. So if Cooper Flagg is healthy and has been playing, we haven't had an injury pop back up at this point, I think Duke wins this game. But I think if we've had questions where he's maybe tweaked the ankle again, where he's still playing, but he's tweaked it and he's not 100%, Houston can come in here and beat Duke.
Unfortunately, we don't get that luxury of seeing how he plays.
And and kind of a home game for Houston a little bit.
Where's the
Final Four is in San Antonio.
Okay.
So
that matters
too.
Not
Not far from Houston. They're in the state.
Duke fans will travel though.
Yep. But because we don't have
wise, it's pretty.
I mean, 60-40.
That's pretty separated out. I think good. I'm good with going Duke here. God dang it.
Listen, we just have to assume right now they're saying Cooper Flagg's going to play. So I'm just assuming health right now. I'd have to go Duke.
Auburn, Duke.
Nope, Florida, Duke.
I mean, Florida, Duke.
Florida, Duke, national championship.
Here's my thing. This is a clash of really good defense and really good offense.
This is also just a clash of, yes, Duke has seniors, obviously, because that's why they're really good as well. But this is a bunch of upperclassmen for Florida. And the strength of Duke is a lot of Cooper Flagg, a lot of, kind of the younger guys.
I'll be honest. I think I'm going Duke based on their defense. Here's my thing. Look at those stats compared. They outrank them.
And they're not. I
In,
mean, but they're also not far off.
I know, but still, I mean, offensively, they still got them in certain categories.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, I mean, we're talking 1.17 points per possession to 1.21, not that far off. 55 to 57, not far off. 12.6 to 12.3. Florida rebounds the ball offensively a lot better. I mean, that's almost
Simulation
3%.
thinks this is not even close.
I know, and that's what's sad.
Oof.
Listen, to me, Florida is the most complete team in college basketball right now. Because Florida can also
Right now,
Florida can go
yes.
10 deep on the bench. And I also think that matters.
It does. Depth does matter, especially in games like this when you might not be might not be healthy.
I would go Florida, but if you're wanting to go Duke, we can go Duke.
I'm good with flipping a freaking coin. I don't really care. I think this is going to be a really good game if this happens. Let's just. You want to ask Siri?
Yeah, sure.
What do you want, heads? What do you want, tails? You get the pick.
Let's go tails, Florida, heads, Duke.
Flip a coin. Tails.
Florida.
Honestly, I think if I would have said heads, I think I would have still picked Florida at the end. I think I would have. That's how I make decisions sometimes. I'm like, oh, it's this. Well, I really don't like that anyway.
So, there you go. That is.
Shout out our buddy Matt. He's going to be ecstatic.
Yeah. So let's save this. The work the crowd bracket. And there we go. All right. So, with that being said, as we move on, let's do some. How am I able to break this down and pick a national champion? And how have I done my brackets? So, I'm going to share this. So, here you go. You're going to see a list of teams here. All right. You've got. So, why does that say Kenyon? So, history has told us since 2002, sorry, when the Ken Palm rankings became a thing, every national champion has been top 40 in offense and top 25 in defense. All right. So, out of all the tournament teams, the teams you see right here are the only teams that fit that criteria. So, I just narrowed it down from 68 teams to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 teams for you right there. All right. So now how can we narrow this down even more?
So this is strictly for national champion.
Yep.
Okay.
So what's another criteria? You've had to have been, of the last 20 national champions, the last 20 national champions have been in the top 12 in the week 6 AP poll specifically. All right. So now who do we get rid of from that list? All right. So now we're down to 4 teams. Didn't want to do that. Boom. Boom. So now we're down to Auburn, Duke, Florida.
3
Tennessee.
of the 4 number 1 overall.
Yep. 3 out of the 4 are also SEC.
Of course.
All right. So now let's break it down to percentages. What has been another criteria? What's been a high percentage of things that have happened? So, nope, can't type. So 80% of the national champions, and this has all been since 2000. So 80% of the national champions have averaged 4 or more blocks per game as a team. All right. So that takes out Duke. So that leaves us, with 3 teams. All right. So of those three, another 80%. Whoa. Another 80% of champions were top 25 in points per game in the country. All right. So that takes out Tennessee. So we're down to Auburn, Florida.
Man, miles per gallon? That's crazy.
So, what the hell?
Just kidding. Go
All
ahead.
right. So now we're down to two teams. So now out of these two teams, how can I narrow down the one national champion? Well, since 2000, only 5 teams have been first-time champs. Auburn has only made Final Fours, never won a natty.
Really?
So that leaves the Florida
I'll be honest,
Gators.
I don't think I knew that.
That leaves the Florida Gators.
Well, look at us. We did. You had this before, but we totally picked this together.
Yeah. No, and I asked you before. I said I won't use this to sway decisions because I wanted us to pick who we thought. So
That's crazy.
real quick for everybody, here I'll label all these out if you. So that way, if you want to screenshot them. Whoa, why did that just go small on me? All right, so you got Ken Palm top 40. You got top 12 in the week 6 AP poll. Now you've got 80% average 4 or more blocks per game. And then the last one that I narrowed it down to was 80% are top 25 in points per game. And then there you go.
Screenshot that, people. Come on now. This is cool stuff, man.
If
I
you
like
need
this.
help, picking your bracket, you can use this.
Work the crowd's got you.
All right. Also, like I said earlier, I think of the last 16 tournaments, a double-digit seed has made the Sweet 16. So, if you're picking a bracket and you don't have one of the double-digit seeded teams in your Sweet 16, you've already messed up.
And in my opinion, I think you go with a 5-12 upset.
Yep.
In that, those are, I think, percentage-wise, the highest.
The 8-9 matchup, typically about 70% the 9 matchups win. So the 9 seed win. So
Thanks for repping that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to save that for the end for you. I wasn't going to hit you with that at the beginning. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of formulas you can use when picking. Now, obviously, this right here isn't surefire because it's 80% of the champions have done 2 of those things.
Right.
But, and then I guess I should. Make sure everybody knows this so they're not thinking all the time. All this is all since 2000. All right, except for Ken Palm. Ken Palm became a thing in 2002. So there you go. If you need help making last-minute decisions on your bracket, that right there, you can use that. Again, when you narrow it all down to who fits all that criteria, there's only one team that fits all that criteria, and it is the Florida Gators.
Oh my gosh. Chomp chomp. All right. Yeah, I mean, I think these stats are really cool. If you're into analytics or using any sort of stats or data for making decisions, sounds like Klucas is your guy because he put in a lot of effort here.
Yeah, I mean,
this is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's all just. Obviously, I didn't do all of this. I mean, I do know some of this. This has just all been, throughout the years of learning. But yeah, you got to do the research of who fits in each criteria and all this. So yeah. So I think we made a great choice in picking Florida as the national champion.
Look at us. Who would have thought?
Not me.
Not me. All right, so that pretty much wraps up our predictions for March Madness. Talked a little bit about Cooper Flagg. and how the NCAA pretty much fucked Louisville in every way, shape, or form. Still punishing us for whatever reason. Last but not least, your trivia question. Ready?
Yep.
All right. This might be an easy one. I'm not sure. I don't know.
Okay.
Who is the all-time leading scorer in NCAA Division I men's basketball history? Do, 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 do. And I think the answer may surprise you a little bit.
Maybe.
I mean, this goes back, I'll give you a little bit. It goes back a little bit.
Yeah, so immediately you got to think, obviously, 4-year player for one.
That is correct.
So, because nobody's doing this in, 1, 2, 3 years. And if you are, you're the greatest basketball player ever.
Ever.
So I think 4-year player. You would almost have to assume that this is when the 3-point line was out, but I'm not really sure. So, like, immediately my mind goes to, like, Kareem at UCLA. It goes to, like, Pete Maravich at LSU. And then you have... The problem is there's also a lot of mid-major guys that just score a shit ton of points.
It's true.
And...
Who you got?
All right, I'm going to go with one only because of a specific story behind it. And I'm going to go Pete Maravich.
Boom, what a pull. What a pull.
Yeah,
that is
so
correct.
The only reason
he scored, this was before the 3-point era.
Yeah,
this
that's why.
1967 to 1970 is when he played for LSU. And he scored 3,667 points in his career.
Yeah, that's insane. So I know a couple of years ago.
How the hell did you pull that out of your ass?
Because I remember a couple of years ago there was the guy at was it Detroit or whatever that was on pace to beat the record?
Yeah.
And he fell just like something stupid, like 5 points short or something like that. But I only, like I said, the specific story is Adolph Rupp literally said Pete Maravich can score whatever he wants because he himself is not going to beat our team.
Yeah, I mean, that's the correct answer. What a freaking pull.
Like I said, I was thinking like Kareem is one of the most historic, best college basketball players ever, if not the best basketball player ever, college basketball. So I was thinking of UCLA guys. So Kareem, Bill Walton, guys that won all throughout that era. Pete Maravich, I knew was an insane scorer. I was also thinking like maybe potentially Jerry West.
Pistol Pete
was that guy.
Though.
Pistol Pete was that guy.
Yeah, I mean, dude was a stud for sure.
Now I'm interested.
Yeah. I think it surprised me a little bit because I feel like I've always known Pete Maravich as like a passer in the NBA.
Yeah, so that dude from Detroit fell 3 points short.
Oh,
Pete Maravich scored 3,667 career college points. Antoine Davis at Detroit scored 3,664.
He sucks.
And then after that is Freeman Williams of Portland State. And then the last closest guy to do it was Max Abmas, which everybody remembers as an NCAA tournament phenomenon at Oral Roberts.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
He's 8th all time in points. He finished his career at Texas. He was still 500 points short of Pete Maravich.
Before the 3-point line is crazy.
Before the 3-point line, yeah. And you got to think in this era, you would think it would be easier in this era for somebody to do it. One, if you just, I guess you can make the argument it's not because you have to actually stay in college for one.
Yeah.
But two, there's a 3-point line. And nowadays you got people that have been in college for fucking 6-7 years.
True.
So.
Yeah.
I mean.
Pistol Pete's the dude, man.
Yeah, that should just tell you something. You're allowed to play in school now 5-6 years, and there's a 3-point line, and there are people that haven't even came close to Pete Maravich's points.
Yep.
So.
All right, well, I think that pretty much does it. Use these statistics to fill out your bracket. We're trying to help you out here.
Listen, it's not going to fill you out a perfect bracket. First of
No,
all, that's never going to happen to begin with.
Never is going to happen.
But you're not going to fill out a perfect bracket. But if you want to be able to win some tournament pools, maybe by just having a near national champion, I'd go Florida. But also, please don't attack us if Florida gets bounced early.
Yeah, please don't.
All right, listen, if they fall into that 20% tile up here, that's not my fault.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yep. So. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, give us a rating. Or on Spotify, give us a rating. Obviously, subscribe to the show. And if you're on YouTube,
cost anything for a like and a subscribe. So
yeah, click that notification bell so when we release things, you get notified as well. Thanks for listening. We're out. Peace.